Welcome to New Business in Later Life, where we prove that it's never too late to pursue your entrepreneurial dreams. You will meet remarkable individuals who launch successful businesses over 50, sharing their stories, challenges, and enthusiasm. Your host, Ildiko, is a former social housing professional, textile designer, and teacher who described herself as a life artist. She is now a property professional, business network host, and facilitator of the Entrepreneurial Club. Subscribe now to hear these inspiring stories every week.
Hi, in today's episode I'll be talking to Penny Ellis, who I met recently at a local Connector event. Probably her husband, who is a regular networker, dragged her along shortly after she set up her travel business. She instantly struck me as quite enthusiastic, and she certainly showed nothing else but passion during our conversation. She's always been a people person. She worked as a nurse, then a ballroom dance teacher, and it's now no effort for her to be a travel agent for her friends, family, and ever-growing clientele. One of the most interesting things Penny revealed about her life was that despite of them being in their late 60s, they spend a lot of their time staying on their catamaran. How cool is that? If I lived on a boat, I would want to live on a catamaran. I think they're really cool. Then, of course, being a travel agent, they are now sampling a zillion travel options and are always on the road or a plane. Not so much on their catamaran. But anyhow, let's hear the story from Penny. So, how are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
Could you please tell us your most recent business?
The one I'm doing now is, as you said just a minute ago, I'm an independent travel agent.
And please tell us, how old were you when you set this new business up?
I was 66, nearly 67.
Wow.
I set this up in the February and I was 67 in the March.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Although I'll be asking you a little bit more about the age relation to business. But for a minute, can you please tell us a little bit about this business?
I organise holidays for anybody who wants to have a holiday anywhere. I can do cruises, I can do whatever. Any holiday that you care to go on. I can do day trips to London, I can do holidays to Dubai, I can do what any normal travel agent can do. And when I came into the business in February, I did do my ABTA and Atoll certification, so have all that. I've also done a Hurtigruten expedition cruise.
Excuse me?
A Hurtigruten expedition.
Don't swear at me.
It's a cruise line, and they do expeditions to the Antarctic.
Oh, wow.
And I've done a course to do, so I can sell those, and I know very much what I'm selling, and it's constant learning. Our main company is IntelliTravel, and they do all the training for you. There's so much training. I don't think I could possibly do it all.
So what sort of things do you need to train on as an independent travel agent? I have absolutely no concept.
Right.
Understanding
So
about
you have to learn how to book airlines, flights, how to package holidays if that's what the client wants, how to look. Somebody might contact me and say, I want to go to, say, for instance, on a tour of Japan. These are the dates I want to go. These are the places I want to go to. And I have to then find where they want to go, find the tour, or build a tour for them,
yes.
Including travel, hotel stays, whether they want to go all-inclusive, whether they want to go room only, whatever.
So basically, it sounds to me that when I want to go on holiday, I sit down with the computer, probably
exactly
3, 4, 5, 6 nights in a row, and then check this website and that website and this airline, and how does it match, and will that be okay, and is this half board, is that not, and so on. So this is what you do, but
put it all together. And the difference being from you doing it,
yes,
you're not ABTA protected.
No.
Whereas with myself, if I put a package together, you are ABTA protected. And what that actually means is that if most airlines are automatically Atoll protected. So, for instance,
I was going to say that when I book on these various websites, they all say that they are protected. So,
Atoll, but not ABTA.
What's the difference?
Right, Atoll is for your flight. If you say we're out, I don't know, wherever you were going to be.
Stick with Japan, or I'm going to Dubai next week.
or you were in Dubai and there was an issue out there. And for instance, they had to fly, I don't know, there was some kind of pandemic or floods or whatever else there was.
That'd be a first in Dubai, but anyhow.
You do not wherever you were, but they Atoll will repatriate you. They'll get you home.
Right.
But any hotel you've booked, you'll
But
lose
isn't
your
that
money.
what travel insurance is for? That when these things happen, then you
Yes, it
claim
is.
these
But
things on your insurance.
sometimes yes and no. Not as quite as the same. If you're ABTA, which I am at, I offer ABTA protection. It means they will either find you another hotel or they will move you, etc. And you'll get all of your money back if you can't stay. Yeah,
Okay, so what's the training for? What is it that you need to be trained on to be able to put this package together? Because it's kind of like we've all done it like a zillion times in our lifetimes.
You have, absolutely. Just so that we know legally, exactly where our client stands, the taking of the money, the booking of the holiday. One thing I will say right at the beginning is working with IntelliTravel, which is really nice. I don't handle any of my clients' money.
I suppose nowadays you don't actually handle cash anyway. It
Well,
all
no,
goes through...
but we have what's called our back office, and we have to log any travel in the back office and pay. And there's procedures we have to go through to make sure that we're covered as well as our client is covered. So that we have to make sure that they have got certain things like travel insurance. We make sure their passports are up to date and all that type of thing, and we have to pass all the information on to the hotel. We will, or the airlines, we actually will do all that. So, we'll marry all their information and give it to the hotel. They will send the pricing, the tickets. They'll get the payment for the tickets through our company. So they'll send an invoice to IntelliTravel and the client pays IntelliTravel. So I don't have to, and then IntelliTravel then pay me my commission.
Right, okay. But you, for all intents and purposes, you advertise yourself and your business as an independent travel
It is my
agent.
business.
Yeah.
It is totally my business.
Yeah.
If I don't want to book any holidays, I don't have to. If I want to just book my own holidays and do that with my commissions and get my commissions off of my own holidays, I can do that. There's no pressure whatsoever, which is what really attracted me. I didn't.
Fair enough. So you work as much or as little as you want.
Exactly that. And I didn't want to, having been in business for very many years and having had quite a stressful business, which we retired from back in October, finally completely retired from it in October.
Sounds like I can say congratulations.
Yes, you can. It was wonderful. I didn't want to be doing something that was going to be stressful again. We've had enough of that. And
can I just ask at this point? So you are 67. You turned 67. So that's, even in modern terms, in 2024 terms, that is retirement age.
Yes, it is.
So why is it that you set up a business at this age rather than take retirement?
Because I think we wanted to supplement our pensions. We need to supplement our pensions a little bit, not a lot, but we just wanted to make ourselves a little bit more comfortable. Unfortunately, the pension, the national pension isn't particularly, or state pension isn't particularly good. I expect I expect you've seen it on the news and on feeds, etc. That the state pension is 12,000 something now.
It's certainly not enough.
No,
to live any kind of half decent life on.
Exactly. Well, they say that to be, the national minimum wage now, you've got to earn, I think it's about 20,000 a year, so 20-something thousand a year, and yet with pensioners,
the pension doesn't quite reach that.
It's half of it.
It's kind of like based on if you just sit at home and do nothing. Mind you, that costs a lot of money because you need to heat your house.
Exactly that, and everything. The
you
living
don't
costs.
Need to heat your house. You've got a You've got a boat to live on. How's that in this kind of weather?
It's fine. We have heating. We have radiators, and we have diesel heating, and we have backup electric heating when we're in the marina.
I suppose the upside of that is that it's a much smaller
area
space to heat. Yes.
Yeah. It is. Although it's our saloon area is I don't know. It's 20 by. It's quite a big saloon because we live on a catamaran, so it's quite a big.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we've got 4 double cabins.
I totally admire you for that.
Not me. That's my husband Peter's.
Well, you do live with him.
I do.
And by the
Yeah,
sound
and
of
for a
it,
very long time.
You sound to be happily married, so
Yeah,
I suppose
43 years. The day
that's wonderful.
it was our 43rd wedding anniversary. The day we retired on the 3rd of October.
Oh, what a present to give to yourself.
I know, it was wonderful.
Awesome. And in what circumstances was your aha moment to think like, I need to set up this business?
I have a very dear friend, and we've been friends for many, many years. I knew her through our other business, the embroidery business, and I've been following her on social media we follow each other for years.
Yeah, friends.
And she's been travelling all over the world. She has always travelled, and she suddenly came up with, she kept putting out these wonderful holidays, and would you like to go on this holiday, and blah, blah, blah. And then one day she put a message on Facebook, and it said, would you like to do the same as I'm doing, to all her friends?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Now, I've always booked our holidays from when the children were tiny. We bought a.
You mean you personally? So you
Yes,
did all the things that I said at the
absolutely.
beginning, like you
Absolutely.
would go and check out the hotel and check out the flights and try and match everything up.
Absolutely. And then we ended up, because I used to do it for our family.
Yeah.
We have 2 children. And obviously did it when they were younger. And my brothers and sisters would say to me, "Oh, can you do ours? You're very good at all of this." And I ended up doing it literally. And I've always done it for the family, always. And I saw this thing and I thought, that's exactly what I do now. I want to know more. So I contacted my friend Heidi, and literally within, I should imagine, 15 minutes I'd signed up to do the business.
Okay.
And it was just, it absolutely said, yeah, go for it. And that was on the 2nd of February. And then and we thought, right, that's it. We both get our state pensions now. We got them at 66 when we were 66. And with this now as well. And the investment was so small to set up my own business, and the support is phenomenal. I've never known anything like it. Seriously.
Well, this is from the back office side.
From the company, yes. Untitled
Chapter. It's
Chapter.
really good. I imagine
I can do anything, yeah. And they do
you sort of buy into all their support services.
Well, absolutely. And it really is absolutely phenomenal. We've been up to London to 2 different I've been up to London to 2 different conferences in London, and met everybody. And we went to Italy when we finished on the 3rd of October. On the 7th of October, we flew out to Italy for 2 weeks. And we had...
Was it a little holiday present for yourself, or was it part of
it was part
like
of
a business?
Well, we had 3 days of conference in Sorrento.
How wonderful is that? Oh, my word.
And it was unreal. And the rest of it was holiday. And it was wonderful. And, things like...
that's really inspiring.
It was amazing, Ildiko. It was unreal. We had the weather was phenomenal. We had 26 to 28 degrees the whole time we were there. It was really, really lovely.
October.
We flew into Rome, and we hired a car in Rome, which I did all that through the back office, obviously. And for instance, we had 12 days in Rome, and a brand new Renault we hired.
I think I need to come to you next, because the holiday I booked in Mallorca for this August was just, oh my goodness, things went from bad to worse when we got there.
Oh, it was amazing. We had an amazing time. And then, so we spent a night in an apartment in Rome, and then we went down to a place called Meta, which is just outside Sorrento, and we stayed there for the time for a week. So we were in Meta for a week, and we got the bus in actually to Sorrento every day because it was so easy. Literally stopped outside our apartment and it went to the conference was at the Hilton Palace Hotel in Sorrento, overlooking Naples Bay, which was beautiful. So we did that, and then after the 3 days of we had another day or two to look around Sorrento. So we had a week in Sorrento, or staying in Meta and going into Sorrento, and then we came back. And we went back to Rome for another 3 or 4 nights. I can't remember now, 4 nights, I think. And we looked around Rome and it was fabulous. Absolutely wonderful.
Sounds truly amazing. It sounds like this business kind of found you completely at the right time.
Absolutely it did. It was really, I'm going to use the word bizarre, because we'd been wanting to, for many reasons, retire from the business. That we were in. I mean, we've been doing it a very long time. And back along in 2012, I had a spinal stroke.
Oh my, I've never even heard that before.
It's not very common, but it is, and I was in hospital and poor old Peter was left to run the business on his own. And it became very, I was off for quite a long time and etc. And then we came through and we had COVID. It was a lot, and unfortunately the business we were in we were an embroidery business, so we supplied and embroidered all forms of workwear and schoolwear.
Yes.
And schoolwear, it's become very difficult. The government are changing all of the rules on schoolwear. The government are changing all the rules on schoolwear. They don't have to have so many items embroidered, etc. And it was getting very, very difficult. The market was shrinking year on year, and expensive. It was getting more and more expensive. We were having huge supply issues, particularly in the last 2 years, because of the wars,
yes, of course, the material issues.
Getting the materials across, it was horrendous.
So it sounds like you are kind of quite happy to see the back of that business. So anyway, let's keep the new business. Let's concentrate on the new business. So where do you see this business taking you that you've never imagined in your life?
Right. We also, Peter and I, we live on the boat.
You do.
We also own a motorhome. So in some respects, we could say we're gypsies.
Sorry, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I said, I'm not going to say that, but yes.
We can go anywhere. I can literally work from anywhere. I can be anywhere in the world. As long as I've got an internet connection, I can work from anywhere.
So go on, name a place. What's the place that you never dared to imagine to go to?
Well, next year, for instance, we've got a month and a half in down in the south of France.
As you do.
We're hooking up to it, and we're taking the motorhome.
Right.
But we've got some friends that are getting married down there, and we're going to help them sort the wedding out before they actually, in the chateau. The chateau actually belongs to his chateau is his sister's. And we're going to put the motorhome there, and we're going to be, and it's right at the time, it's June. The end of June is the wedding, which is when we would have got really, really busy in the old business because of school uniforms going back to, And so we're just going to take ourselves off, and then we come back, and then I just take the business with me wherever I go. I just take my laptop, and we've got a Wi-Fi connector, which works anywhere, which is fabulous, specifically for motorhomes, etc. So we can go anywhere, and we'll then come back. We then go in August to we think with our daughter and her family to France for a few days, and then in September we go over at the beginning of September again in the motorhome. This year or next year, our conference is in Porto from the 26th to the 28th of September, which is so exciting. And so we're going to go down at the beginning of September, and depending on how many,
as you want.
Well, depending on our 90 days, obviously.
Yes, of course.
The 90 days Schengen. But we've worked on that. We think we can probably do about a month and a half, 2 months if we're careful. So we're going to do a month and a half in May, June, And then we'll come home just after the wedding, which is the 28th of June. So
okay, I see what you mean. That for every 3 months, every 6 months period, it has to be 90 days. So you need to carefully calculate it.
Yeah.
Oh, Brexit, that keeps giving, eh? Absolutely.
Absolutely, you're right.
Yeah, actually, there's something to bear in mind because we are hoping that we'll get to that point when our businesses will be supporting us in such a way that we can spend elongated times. Because we went on a month-long road trip to Italy a couple of years ago, and oh my goodness, I could just recommend it to everyone. I got in the car, took my dog, and we travelled through France, Switzerland, and all the way down to the very far end of...
We did the same thing last year. Obviously, I wasn't doing this business then, and we had to wait to go till the middle of September. But we had about 5 weeks, I think. We are very, very lucky to have a member of staff that ran the business for us, and we did France into Italy, back into France, into Switzerland, and that's really, I suppose, what gave me the impetus to want to really do this business, because we as I say, we went into Germany, back into France, and back home, and we just wanted to come,
absolute freedom,
and we just wanted to have, at this time of our lives, why not?
You've mentioned quite a few places in Europe, especially southern Europe. Yeah. But where do you envisage yourself to conduct business from the most unusual place?
Possibly Morocco.
Okay.
Marrakesh, wherever. We want to go over to Morocco. Just because.
And take a laptop and stay for a while. And
absolutely.
Carry on.
Absolutely. Wherever. I also I do have another issue, and I'm a celiac. Okay. So that's one of the reasons we have the motorhome. So
I would say that that probably helps then, doesn't it? Because then you can do all your own cooking and you can pay attention.
Yeah. So
I share your sentiment.
No, it's I think because we finished on the 3rd of October, we went away on the 7th of October. We came back from Italy on the 17th, 18th of October. We then were home for a few days, but we also house sit for any of our clients. So we pet sit. So we had a client who went to Italy, went to Rome in the half-term holiday for a few days, and we were there nearly the week. So we went and stayed in their house in Dorset.
Yeah.
And looked after their 2 kittens.
Yeah, we've done that with my husband since my dog died last summer.
Yeah.
That's how I get my doggy fix. Well, she lived a good life. She lived to nearly 15. She had a good life. It was as close to old age as it could be, although she was ill. But anyhow, the way I get my doggy fix is that we go and dog sit for friends.
Yeah, and, exactly that. Well, we do for clients, family, etc. And so we went down to Dorset, and we were there with the 2 kittens and working from Dorset, which was really nice. We then came back, and we only had 4 or 5 days back home. Then we went to London. So we were in London for 5 or 6 days. Then we came back from London last Sunday, I think it was. And then we're off again this Saturday. And we're actually going looking after our grandchildren for a couple of days, but we can do that now because
the 2-legged pets.
Yeah, they're not 2-legged. Yeah, the 2-legged pets. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we couldn't do that before because we obviously were working.
Yeah, you were completely bogged down with the business.
Oh, that's really nice as well because I can work from anywhere. Literally, I can help the children if they need it, etc. Which is really, really nice. For them, for us. Because
you've been doing this business since January, you said?
February.
So it's only been going about 9 months or so, 10 months.
Yes.
How do you find? Do you find that it's largely friends and family who contact you to book their holidays, or are you able to reach further afield now and just complete strangers who see your posts?
Absolutely.
Mind you, I see your posts on Facebook. I assume that you are promoting the business elsewhere as well. So how do you attract
So
customers?
what I do is, as part of when you're part of IntelliTravel, they have something called preferred partners, which we can work with. You don't have to work with them all the time, but they have 100 preferred partners.
Okay.
And so these preferred partners then they put out, you join their Facebook groups, and they put out holidays and tours and anything else that they want to put out just for agents.
Okay.
And I can then
Can
choose
you
those.
repost it to your audience?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so then we're taught how we have. Thankfully, the lady that introduced me, Heidi, she's very, very, very good at social media, and that's what her main job is. She was a social media marketer.
What do you mean her main job? Like she does the postings, or she teaches you to
No,
post?
No. She has another job as well. She does this alongside her job.
Oh, okay.
Which most people do, to be fair. Most people, and I started obviously alongside my other job.
Yes.
A lot of people worked with the job, do it alongside the job they do in their spare time or whatever. And I put posts out, and she's taught me to. I've got a Facebook page, which is Exciting Times Travel, and I also have a group, which is More Time to Travel UK, and the group is where I advertise the group, and I do a sponsored ad, basically from my page about my group.
It sounds like I need to come to you for Facebook training.
Oh no, don't. Believe me, you don't. Anyway, I mean that's one thing I think that's possibly it's taking me quite a lot of time, because it for our era, for my
I was
age
just
group,
about to go into that kind of question. Is there anything in particular where you feel that your age is hindering you?
Yes, only purely the social media side of things.
Okay.
Because that's how things go these days. Instagram, we really are struggling to get our heads around Instagram, but we're learning. We are still learning, and we are only
keeping your brain fresh.
Oh gosh, are we ever? But no, it's coming. It's coming slowly, and we, as I say, I keep on doing. And I've got most of my clients at the moment. I think I'm on this morning's was on my Facebook group. I think I've got 507 members, and we interact, and they send me messages, and I send them back, and they'll see a holiday that I try and post about 5 different holidays a day.
Wow, that's a lot.
And they're different. They're all different.
So that's like even just Monday to Friday, that's 25. If you take the weekend, that's 35.
I do.
Mind
I
you,
don't do Sunday. I have Sundays off. Sundays is sacred. But
do you know you can pre-program your posts?
Absolutely, yes. I do. I schedule all my posts, so that's fine. Although you don't want to do that too much, because you'll miss all the current that come up, and you'll be behind with the posts that are,
I suppose that is the perk of the job. Every morning you have a look what's new, what's fresh,
exactly.
And then you do a sort of post about it.
And I can do it from my phone, I can do it from a laptop, whatever, which is great. And so that's what I do. And I choose either to do cruises, river cruises, Caribbean cruises. Morning, or going to come up today sometime, is the tulip bulb fields in Amsterdam and around
for the springtime.
Yeah, for the springtime, and there's all sorts of things. We've had a lot of, obviously, you can imagine, Lapland and Father Christmas visits. But my More Time to Travel UK is what I want that to be. I'm trying to niche down a little bit in the fact that's for people who have more time to travel. So they're either retired, or their children are offhand, or are slightly older, so they don't have to go away in the school holidays, etc. So that's the kind of demographic I'm looking for, or that I'd like to work with.
I would imagine. I mean, from all the business studies that I'm doing, it's kind of like the more you niche down,
exactly
the better the service you can provide. I would imagine this will come in time that you will find out exactly what suits you the most.
Exactly.
So on the flip side of anything, if your age was hindering you, is there anything where you find that your age is really helping you running this new business? Yes,
I think possibly the fact that we know that every 4 weeks we get our pension, so that if we're not absolutely, I don't have to worry all the time.
Okay.
You don't have to worry all the time where the next penny is coming from or anything like that. Not that we're, that it's that bad anyway.
But I know the whole concept of
absolutely. I mean, when we had the business, our other business, we had to you had to pay staff at the end of the
No,
month.
of course, yes.
You
have to pay
had-
rent on the shop.
Exactly,
And so on and so on.
exactly that. And
The maintenance contracts for your machines and
Yeah.
God knows what else.
yeah, if you had a really bad month, that can be really, really stressful and really, So the fact that we have, and also I think with age you learn to I don't worry about it, If somebody isn't going to die from it, so hey-ho.
Yeah, I suppose there is a definite advantage of
absolutely.
age that you
yeah,
kind of-
absolutely. I know, and what's really lovely is because we're retired as well, and with this business, and I can do it from anywhere. My children both have very stressful jobs, and we can help them out now, which we weren't able to do before, and that used to worry me a little bit.
So by the sound of it, running a business at 67 is good for your health. Blimey, I never thought I would say that. People are looking forward to their retirement. But
I really believe that, because there is no way on this earth we could just sit there and do nothing.
by the look of it, you are not that kind of person.
No.
I know the feeling, though. Absolutely know the
and my
feeling.
husband Peter definitely isn't. When we first retired, and we talked about it when we were on holiday in Italy, we set a plan and what we're going to do each day, and we get up and we, as though we're working. We are working, and
Yeah, have a routine. Go on, tell me about your routine. I'd love to hear that.
well, my first part of my day is a cup of tea brought to me.
Oh,
Absolutely,
isn't that
150%.
sweet?
Well, always 43 years, and he's never missed a day unless he's been away.
Bless. That's really sweet.
But no, we get up. I exercise for half an hour every morning on the boat, bizarrely. But
Mind you, that gives you...
Yeah.
Does it rock... Mind you, it's a catamaran. Does it rock around?
Yes, it does, a little
Okay.
bit. But it gives you very good core strength.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good core strength. And so then once we've set to, I set down, I log onto my computer, I answer any messages I need to answer. I make sure that all my posts are there and ready for the day, and I've scheduled them right the way through to the end of the day. My last post usually goes out at 10:30 at night, because people scroll when they get to bed.
Just before, or even in bed. I don't. I leave
yeah.
my phone downstairs.
Yeah,
But I know that's not quite the norm. I know a lot of people take
exactly
their phone
that.
to bed.
So
So they can dream of their dream cruise to the Caribbean.
I get more messages at night, bizarrely, and that's another thing, is learning as part of the having to learn all the social media.
Don't answer at 11 o'clock, or do you have to?
No, I don't. But unless I'm awake and with it, etc. But just knowing that that people, I've got something a really good holiday at that time, because people do go through and learning the different times of day that the main scrolling's done. The first thing in the morning, so I always put one on at 7:30 in the morning, so people are going on train journeys or anything else.
Yes.
That kind of thing. So I do that, and then I do one sort of usually mid-morning coffee time.
Yes.
I don't do one at lunchtime.
Let people eat.
Yeah.
Very respectful.
Then I do one sort of late afternoon,
Again, the coffee time.
mid-afternoon, cup of tea time. Then I do one when the children are probably young children are in bed, whatever. And then, when most people have finished their supper, I'll do one about 7:30 in the evening, and then I do one at 10:30. So that's my hours I try to stick to, so that I can,
So you go into this platform where you've got 100 offers to choose from, and then you cherry pick the 5 that you're going to post on that day.
No, it's not 100 offers. It's 100 partners, and they can put out 10 offers a day.
Oh wow!
So you can
How
choose.
do you choose? Do you have a system for it?
No, not really.
Is it something they train you on?
I don't know. No. I just, depending on what niche you're in.
Okay.
We've got another a friend who's in the business, and she is specifically looks at cruises, for instance.
Right.
So she only looks at cruise companies. I look at holidays where it's not necessarily family holidays. It's not with children. It's for older people or
couples,
mainly.
Couples. Or single travelers.
Exactly. Although Heidi, my friend, she does solo travel. Specifically solo travel, and so
it's not always easy. So once
you niche down, you learn to find. I do a lot of tours to South Africa.
Okay.
I promote a lot of South African tours, a lot to Japan. If there's something really specific and special, I'll do like the bulb fields in Amsterdam or wherever in the Netherlands. I do that just because it's sort of that's more of dare I say it, you know, a slightly older person would probably like to do that.
Funny, my stepmom really, really wanted it for years, and then my dad was against it. And then there are some tulip fields in West Hungary, and then they went there, and they were not very inspiring. So then she was still going on about it, and in the end, I think it was earlier this year, they ended up going to the Netherlands to see the tulips fields, and she was really, really happy. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean on that one.
Yeah.
So you put out your posts with obviously suggestions of certain holidays, and then people respond to that. But do people actually now come to you to say, "Oh, Penny, can you put together this whatever holiday for me?" What's been the quirkiest request you've had from people?
Oh gosh, I had one back along August. I had to book one together. A gentleman rang me or contacted me via, because I have to put obviously all my details of contact details on every post.
Yes.
And he contacted me and said he was going in. He had to go in a week's time.
Oh, so very short deadline.
Yep. And he had an 11-year-old son. No, sorry, 9-year-old son. His son was 9, and he wanted to go away on holiday with him. He gave me a budget, and he didn't want to go anywhere where there was he had to have fresh water because his son had a skin condition and he couldn't. This salt was too.
Okay, so river, lake.
Yeah, and he couldn't go in a swimming pool either.
Of course.
And I literally had 5 days to sort it.
Oh wow! How did you find that? The challenge itself?
Exciting.
Was it empowering?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I love it. Isn't it funny? It's absolutely something that's really. I love it. I absolutely love it to the stupid. I've become almost obsessed.
No, that's brilliant.
And I ended up sending the gentleman and his son to Madeira.
Okay.
And it was a holiday, and the hotel was on a lake, and there was lots of activity for the son. So there was kayaking, and there was pedalos, and all this kind of thing on the lake. And he was absolutely made up. He was
you
so
could have
thrilled.
just sent them to Bodmin Moor to Sigleyback Lake, eh? They do kayaking and windsurfing and zip wiring.
And from that, he's then introduced me to another lady who is going. He was so thrilled. He actually put a lovely message on my
oh, that's wonderful.
Facebook group on the front page of that, which was great. Basically saying, just, you know, if you've thought about booking a holiday with Penny, just do it. She's amazing. And he introduced me to another lady, and there's 3 mums taking 4 children in August. So I'm this 2025. So I'm sorting that at the moment, amongst other holidays that I'm doing for other people. But yeah, it's just every day everything's different. Every holiday's different, and every client's requirements are completely different. But I also do have another page which is travels with the GFG.
What's GFG?
Gluten-free Granny.
Oh.
So I'm the gluten-free granny, and I try and post if I go anywhere, or any of my followers go anywhere, and they put posts on really, really good places abroad to go that cater for celiacs really well, or any other, but mainly celiacs.
That's amazing. I might need to come and talk to you separately, but I'm not celiac, well, slightly gluten intolerant, but dairy-free. I sort of follow a dairy-free diet for health reasons. And yeah, it is so incredibly difficult, especially abroad.
Absolutely it is.
To even ask. I mean, imagine going to Greece, everything's got yogurt in it, or things like that. It's very hard, so I kind of just put up with it and then suffer it for a few days, even when we come home, and then it kind of goes.
Or if you go on to any dietary site, like I go onto the Celiac Society site, you can print off a card in any language, which will explain exactly your dietary requirements, and you just hand it to any restaurant anywhere you go, and they will say whether or not they can cater for you. With the celiacs, so for instance, I had another one, went to Bulgaria for a holiday in Bulgaria, and the mum and her son were both celiac.
Okay.
So what I did for them is I actually personally speak to the hotel.
Okay.
So that I explained to them, look, for instance, something you probably wouldn't think about is has the toaster been used by anybody else? It was an apart hotel. It was an apart hotel they went to, so they were in apartments. And I said, can you make sure the toasters are new? Because otherwise they couldn't use them.
No.
I also send for instance, my celiac clients, I send them with toasting pockets. The toasting pockets, they can put their bread in the toaster so they don't get cross-contamination. And I also send, whichever country they're going to, I print them off and laminate what's called a restaurant card, so that it tells anybody anywhere in that in the language of the country exactly their allergies and what they can and can't have.
That's fascinating.
So I do that as well. So yes.
That's brilliant. So if we just go back a little bit to the business side of things. So at the very beginning, you told me that buying into this franchise, the amount of training you have is quite incredible. Are there any parts that you are really enjoying and not really enjoying, and which ones are they? And also, what other services are you able to tap into that you are really grateful for?
The training is so interesting. And the best part about it is you do it at your own pace. There is nobody saying, you must do this, you must do that. I do it as and when I want to.
By not doing certain bits of the training, is there like a program for it that it's best if you do it in this order, so to help you along the business?
I think the only training that you have to do before you can start is your ATOL and ABTA training.
Right, that makes sense.
Which you have to do that before you can before you're given all of your credentials, and obviously to start selling holidays.
It's kind of becoming compliant, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. So you do that, and then on Saturday, the 7th of December, I'm doing something called a Dream Maker.
Oh,
and Dream Maker is it's a full day. It's from 10 till 5, and it's again helping you, just giving you more information on putting packages together, the easiest way to, as far as I know, I've not done it before, so that's what I'm expecting it to be. And then you get to that each stage you come to, you get to the more and more.
It sounds quite logical, really. You do a little bit of practical, and then you do a bit of training, you build on it, and then a bit more practical, and then something starts to make sense. It's kind of like in our property business. Just this past week, I sat in on a little webinar, and that person said something. It's like, hang on a minute, we talked to our accountant about this over a year ago, and at the time it didn't make that much sense. But now, a year later, having done this, then the other, and buying a different kind of property, suddenly it's like, oh, hang on a minute, can we have a conversation, please, and just clarify what's the difference between an investment company and a training company, because it will now come into play. So yes, it's kind of like, but we had to have the year's worth of experience for certain things to sink in and make more sense. So I imagine it's kind of similar to you.
I think the best part about it is the bit I love, and right from when we were very first married, when Judith Chalmers used to do the holiday programmes on the telly, and we watched them every Sunday, always, Peter and I, and used to dream of the places we wanted to go to. And they have destination trainings.
Right, okay.
And destination trainings, exactly what they say on the tin, they're destination trainings, and they'll take you to, they show companies that offer the holidays in these places, they'll show you all the videos, and they'll tell you exactly what you can do and what you can book with them. And one of the lovely one a couple of months ago we did, and they're every Tuesday and Thursday nights from 8 till 9. And one was in Uganda, and it was just, honest to goodness, the way they did it, it was like we'd been to Uganda. It was phenomenal.
Oh, wow. And
they saw the gorillas, and it was just, it was wonderful.
it sounds like it's worth doing it just for the training.
Chilly evening, get yourself cosy and warm, sit and watch a travel programme on the television. It's great. It was really great. I mean, it's quite funny because at the moment, they've got, I don't know if you've seen it, but on the television is Gary Barlow doing
I
the
don't
wine.
watch telly. We don't actually have telly plugged in because
Oh,
we
bless
moved our
you.
sofa around and but I don't know, over a year ago, and we've just never got around to moving the aerial.
Well,
so
no,
we don't watch mainstream telly.
No. Well, at the moment, they're doing they've just done a series which is Gary Barlow's wine tour of South Africa.
Okay.
And
Sounds
I have got that on catch up because one of our holiday companies have followed his route and put a holiday out so that people can actually do.
What an amazing business opportunity, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I've watched everything that he's watched, and that he's done in his program. We've binged watched. We've very nearly finished it. But then when the tour company has put out the same following the footsteps of Gary Barlow, and they come to me and ask me anything, having watched it as well on the television, I can then say, well, if you didn't watch it, it might be nice to just catch up because do watch it. It tells you a little bit more. It goes into more depth, and the places he's been and the things he's doing, and it's great. I mean, it's just it's wonderful. I honestly never thought, Ildiko, that I would have a job that isn't a job. It's not a job. It's just, for me, it's almost a way of life now. It's just wonderful.
Isn't it a shame that we have to become this old to fully realise what it means that when you do something that you love, you never work a day in your life?
You don't. I absolutely don't. And it's wonderful because it's just, I mean, poor old Pete, he used to drive him bonkers because if we were going on holiday or we were planning a holiday, I'd sneakily do it while I was at work. My old and
of course he was your boss. Was he your boss?
Yes,
or were you your own boss?
We were both directors of the company. However, because we've always worked together, right from day one, we've always had a boss. You have to somebody to
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
You do need that. And I ended up. He's always been the boss of the company, and my health's not been very good over the years. So I've had a number of health issues, and it was just right for him to be the boss because he knew that he would. He's much touch wood. He's healthier than I am, and has been, and he was able to run the company. And if I wasn't there, he would take up the slack. Do you know what I mean? So
yes.
yeah. Now it's my time.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. It's lovely to see you glow. I mean,
I love it. Ildiko, you have no idea. It's just, it really isn't that. And every day I go somewhere in the world, even if I'm not physically, mentally I'm somewhere. Because if you're sorting a holiday for somebody, you've got to find out all the things they can do there, all the places they can go. You have to give them, information.
Yeah.
So I have to research it, and you go somewhere every day in your mind. It's wonderful.
Do you suffer with FOMO? I think I would really struggle with that.
I don't. Not at all.
Good. That's good for
because I'm not missing out, am I?
I suppose not, because then you plan your own holiday.
Absolutely. I mean, as I say, next year I don't think we're here much. Literally, I don't. It's like this year we're going off on Saturday. We're going to look after the grandchildren. I think I told you earlier. Till Monday, we've got to take our little granddaughter, to school on Monday morning. We're then driving up to Dorset. We're staying with some friends in Dorset. We're then going to Winchester, to the Winchester Christmas market, just because we can.
Just because you can.
And then back on Thursday, I think. Then the following week, I think the 29th, we're looking after.
I can't even keep up with you.
I can't either, believe you me. We're going to be in Exeter for a couple of days. I think and then we come back. Then we're in Exeter for 4 days, Exeter and Exmouth for 4 days. Then we come back. Then on the 7th of December, I'm doing the Dream Maker.
Yes.
Then on the 8th of December, we go to Wales. We're touring Wales until the 21st of December in the motorhome.
Blimey. Good luck finding your way around in the possible fog.
Well,
Are you going to be up in the hills and the mountains?
We're
in
going to do
Wales?
Brecon Beacons first, we think, and then come down, and we're going to do it along the south coast
Beautiful.
because
Okay.
we've rented a cottage on the Pembrokeshire coast path from the 21st to the 28th of December.
Okay, so you're going to spend Christmas there.
Yes.
You're going to have family there.
Yes,
you're going to
our
be children?
daughter
Oh,
and
lovely.
her husband and the two children, the two older grandchildren. Our grandson's 16 and his sister, our granddaughter, is 14, or she will be then. And then we come back, and then we start again in January.
So do you have a magic formula for getting all this work done, getting all the packages together? Or is a magic formula something that
It's in the training.
They train you on?
It's all in the training. You just follow the crib sheet for actually putting the holidays together. They have a crib sheet-ish, and you learn it in the training, and it's stuff that you have to fill out as you're doing. Have you done this? Have you done that? So you don't ever forget. Yeah, so you don't ever forget to do something, and that you know that you're covered and they're covered, etc.
That's a really good system, isn't it?
It is. The training is absolutely phenomenal. As I say, and they're always adding to it. They're always adding to it. I don't know if you've ever heard of a man called Eric Worre.
No.
He's a media marketing guru. I think that's what he does in America. Donald Trump has just apparently taken him on his team as for that side of things. We did a training with him.
Who would have thought that the American government will become a business?
I know. He actually we did a training with him, a 3-night training, which was how to social media marketing training.
Right.
Which because of our business, one of our other ladies in the business, she put us in touch with, put out that they were doing this training or organised this training or whatever, and we just signed on, and it's just ongoing, and it's just, you learn so much. You learn so much.
So it's travelling so much. How do you fit in any of this training?
When we get there, we stop. I mean, we can just, if we find a decent place to stop en route in the motorhome, we just turn the Wi-Fi on. And as I say, we've got a specific Wi-Fi for the boat and or the motorhome.
Yes.
We can change it from one to the other, and it picks up signal in a very difficult places. So it's great. And we just stop, and I do a bit of training, or I look up what I've got to look up for whoever I'm looking it up for, and take it from there.
And it's all just a part of life by the sound of it now.
Yeah, it absolutely
is.
And that's where we didn't want to actually retire fully until it had almost become a part of life, and we'd kind of we'd fitted it in, or I'd fitted it in and done it around the other business. Once I was more confident, and I knew what I was doing, and with booking holidays, etc. And we've got WhatsApp groups all the time, and if I have any issues, I can just put a question into WhatsApp,
right, of course, and you've got the
everybody
support.
comes back, and in our team, etc. And I can, and so once I was more confident, and it was going to work, which it does. We said, right, that's it, we're going. So we did.
Was it easy? Just a little side question. Was it easy to wind up the other business?
For me, yes. For Peter, no.
Anyway, that's a conversation with him then.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Just ask a couple of sort of general questions about you.
Go for it.
Has there been a pivotal moment in your life that shaped you into who you are and what you've become?
I'm one of 5 children.
Okay.
My mother took her own life when I was only 15.
Sad to hear.
And very long time ago now, unfortunately. But having younger brothers and sisters, I've had to be a very strong, I suppose, organised person. And I suppose that's what, I also was a professional ballroom dancer in my misspent youth. Well, up until I met my husband. It's given me confidence because I used to compete a lot, etc. So I think those sort of two things, gave me the confidence to be a strong, independent woman, I suppose. Don't know.
Whatever you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And did you fulfill that life? Did you become whatever you wanted to be?
Ish. I wanted to be a professional ballroom dancer in my life. However, in those days, you didn't have Strictly like you do now, etc. And my father once my mother had passed, my father wanted all of us, all the 5 children, to go into a regular, proper job. So I went into nursing. But then I met my husband when I was, I met him on it's going to sound really bizarre. I met him on the one day. We were engaged within a few days.
And you know, don't you?
You do, absolutely, And we were married, I think it was about 18 months before we actually got married. Yeah, I've had the most fulfilling life. We've travelled, and when we couldn't afford to necessarily go abroad all the time when the children were young, we really pushed ourselves, and we bought a holiday home in the south of France, which we had for 20 years. So we always were able to go because we didn't have to pay for accommodation, etc. And when we weren't there, we would rent it out.
Yes.
So we were always able to go abroad, and my mum was half Belgian anyway, and so I suppose I've always had that European yearning. I love Europe. I absolutely adore Europe.
Could you get yourself a Belgian?
No, because she was born in England, of an English father and a Belgian. My grandmother was Belgian, and unfortunately, other than a lot of countries, you can go back to your grandparents to get a European passport, but not Belgium. It has to be. It has to be your parents.
What a shame!
Which is a real shame. Yeah, absolutely, real shame. But hey ho, we're working it, and with the Brexit and the 90 days, if you work,
it's not even open that can of worms, eh?
Oh, isn't it awful? Once you get your head round the rolling 90 days,
yes,
then it's
you
not
can kind of calculate it.
You can actually,
because overall in a year it's kind of 6 months here, 6 months there. So
yeah, you can actually work it, so it's fine.
But funny, you said that you had the holiday holiday home in France, and you were letting it out. Earlier, I was going to mention that now that you're going to be away so much, you can actually have another income from renting out your catamaran. Well, that's your nest.
The only thing about that would be, because it's a sailing catamaran, you'd have to be very, very sure that they had all the qualifications if they wanted to sail.
Well, not to sail, but they can just stay on it.
Yes, yeah. But and how would you, for insurance purposes, you'd have to be, very sure that they weren't able to sail off somewhere into the sunset.
Yeah, you can remove the key, can you not? Is that too simple a way of thinking?
Yeah, because if they were staying on it, they could just start the engines, and because we obviously have engines as backup, and
I suppose you need
So but.
Okay. Have there been any big challenges in your life that gave you the mental equipment to run this business?
I think probably because we did get the travel bug when we were very young and first married. And we didn't have a lot of money. Even before we bought the holiday home in the south of France, I would source holidays so that we could go abroad somewhere, and I would trawl through absolutely everything I could. I'd spend hours looking, and to make sure that the children could go somewhere abroad and get life experiences, and that we could afford to do it. A lot of the time we did what's called Eurocamp, and we went. There were two, for instance, there were two companies, Eurocamp and Eurosite. One was a lot cheaper than the other, but they were in effect the same thing.
Right.
And you'd go wherever in Europe, and there'd be a tent, but there'd be beds and a fridge, and so it was almost
a little bit like glamping nowadays.
Yes, absolutely,
maybe
like
in a simpler
nowadays.
format.
Because in those days you could take children out of school. There wasn't a ruling about it. You could take, and I truly believe that some of those holidays were the most inspiring for the children and fulfilling it mentally, and they learnt so much.
Yes.
Being in other cultures. For instance, I have pictures of our son who, when we were in a campsite in France and he was standing there eating moule marinière, mussels.
Yes.
He is now a doctor of marine biology and he did his thesis on mussels.
There you go.
He's been absolutely, he was inspired and loves sea life, etc. So I think, and our daughter has married a gentleman who is also, he's a quarter French. As a child, he travelled to France all his life, and they met when they were at college, and they were doing language courses.
As you do.
So I always had this wanderlust in me. I wanted to travel, as did Peter, my husband. He was in the Navy and he's been all over the place, and he'd wanted to show me different places and go different places. And it was just trying to organise something that we could afford to do with the children and have a really good holiday, but not absolutely break the bank. And I think that's why, I've always done it. I've always done it, even when the money became much easier and life became much easier and we didn't have I've always booked the holidays, always. And it's...
I know the feeling, I kind of do that as well. I'm just thinking here that next time I want to book a holiday, so I just come to you and then you can do all of that trolling around.
Which is what we do.
A zillion websites and airlines
that.
and stuff.
And that's what we were saying. That would be great.
And I would imagine that the car hire, I mean, what happened to us in Mallorca, because we booked through... I'm not going to mention the big name. The flight was delayed and then we arrived a little late, and it was probably my oversight not noticing that on the confirmation email it said we're going to pick up at 11 o'clock and we got there at like 7 o'clock. And this car hire company has got this hidden little term and condition that if you book through a third party and you are, a few hours late, not a lot actually, you are a no-show. We had to pay hundreds of pounds in order to drive away in a car, and it's daytime robbery. It's nothing else but daytime robbery. And
our daughter had exactly the same.
And they just shrug their shoulder and they don't care. They just really don't care. So I imagine if we were to book, even if it's a separate hotel and a separate flight and a separate car hire, because you explained that you've got the insurance.
Yes, exactly that. We would have to sort it
okay and covered.
Our daughter had exactly the same thing. Unfortunately, she booked her holiday to Croatia in November last year. I didn't start this business till February. They did exactly the same thing. Do you remember the Microsoft outage for the day?
Oh, something rings a bell.
All the computers went off. Well, that's when they were going on holiday in July, and they were held on the. Very long story short, they were held on the tarmac.
Flights weren't going, were they?
Oh, they were held on the tarmac for 4 hours. Although Ollie, my daughter's Pip's husband, had phoned and left a message and didn't answer the phone.
Of course they don't.
No, exactly that. And it was a worldwide outage. And unfortunately, because they didn't get...
Did they do the same? Just turn the computer screen, you had a no-show, and then he just shrugged his shoulder and walked away.
Exactly that. So they lost £900. They did get it back through travel insurance in the end, because it was the big outage. And, we were late for our hire car when we went to Rome, but we picked it up the next morning and it was all fine.
Yeah, I would have expected. I booked that car for a week. It should be sitting there in that parking spot for a week.
Do you know?
It's like your hotel room doesn't get given away,
Ildiko, that's a very good thing. I think I might start a campaign. That's about the 4th or 5th person I've heard that have been held, with this stupid clause that if you're more, some of them it's an hour.
It's very little.
Yeah, very little.
Yeah, anyway, we can have a very separate conversation about that. Yes. I'll support your campaign with my story. If anybody would like to set up a business in this field, what would be your advice to them? I would suggest to do it as a totally independent, without a sort of a parent company or a franchise company. It would be very difficult, because I don't know how... I thought you were suggesting to do it independently. No. I don't know how you'd do that, because I don't know how you'd get your training, etc. It has to be through
yes,
a parent company.
it has to be. And to be an independent travel agent, you do your homework on the different travel companies out there that offer that, to train ITAs, as we're called. I've more than made my money back. And so if I don't book anything else for the rest of the year between now and February, which I am booking, but if I didn't, I've well covered myself. To be honest, it was a no-brainer. I don't know why for me. It was just, I didn't even question myself. I just did it. And
you're obviously loving it.
I do, because it's given us a life of freedom. We can go. It was really funny when we first moved on. We had the boat and we moved onto it from the house. We sold the house and moved onto our boat. It was really bizarre because we did it because we love to sail. I mean, Peter's a yacht master. He's done the Atlantic crossings, etc., which he'll tell you about, I'm sure, one day. But we then started a business where
you were grounded.
We were grounded because our absolutely busy time was from June to September. Yes. Which is the best sailing time. For instance, we've always wanted to sail to the Scilly Isles, but because of the British weather, we couldn't go even for a fortnight if we took a holiday with cover, we couldn't do it in July and August anyway, because nobody in the business could have holidays in that time. We had to stipulate that because we were so busy. But even if we went in sort of June or September, that was great until the weather turned and you couldn't get back.
Yeah, but now that
we can do...
All you mentioned so far was the motorhome, taking it to the south of Europe. But what about sailing? Are you going to go sailing in the summer?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you do sailing?
Yes, no, absolutely. I do. That's another very funny story, which comes from being married to somebody for so long. When we first moved to Devon, which was in 1995, I believe, I'd done nursing all my life, and I wanted to retrain I wanted to be a history teacher. I adore history. I was going to go and do another LA level in history. So I went to the local library to sign on to the course. But the day I actually was due to sign up, I wasn't very well. So Peter went down to sign up for me, and when he came back, he looked very, very sheepish. And I said, okay, when do I start? And he said, you start on Thursday. I said, Thursday? I thought it was a Tuesday course. He said, no, I couldn't find that course. So I signed you up to do your day skipper. So I ended up doing my day skipper, which was a sailing qualification.
That is so funny.
And so we both love to sail. And I also don't know whether you know or you've heard of a gentleman called Pete Goss, the round-the-world yachtsman.
No.
Who had a big...
I'm not familiar with the sailing world.
Catamaran in Totnes. He became very famous. He rescued a gentleman called Raphael Donnelly and got the Légion d'honneur in France for that. But I worked for him for a number of years as well. So we're both very much into our sailing. So,
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first place we want to go is to the Scilly Isles. And the thing is, if the weather turns, we can tuck in somewhere, put on the Wi-Fi, and I can work.
And you can work. And you are still at the Scilly Isles.
Absolutely. I feel younger now, starting this new job, bizarrely, than I have done for years.
You pretty much preempted my
Sorry.
last question. I said on the back of that question of what you would advise to people who wanted to set up a business in the travel industry, what would you advise to people who wanted to set up a business at your kind of age? Well, definitely over 50, but even in their 60s or 70s.
You have to make sure it's something you absolutely adore doing. And are physically...
Very, very good advice.
Physically able to.
Okay.
And also, I'm mentally able to take on the challenge of a new business or take on the challenge of learning.
Oh, and running, mind you, you've run businesses through your life, so I suppose
the only thing with this business, the only thing you have to make sure is that you do all the training as you need to do it. Working with IntelliTravel, they sort of run the business...
The back office kind of
things for you.
That's probably a huge help, isn't it?
Absolutely. So you haven't got to worry about all that, and you haven't got to put all the systems in place for all of that, which is great. They give you a website, etc. That's all part of the package.
So you buy into all of these services, yes?
Yeah. Well, you do, but to be honest, the actual getting into the business has cost us less than it would go for a day trip somewhere, almost nowadays.
That sounds almost ridiculous, doesn't it?
It absolutely was. I mean, we couldn't have done it if it was going to cost, if we were going to have to pay thousands and thousands to set up a business. We couldn't have done it.
No.
But because the cost to get to do it is so incredible. I mean, it really is.
Awesome. That sounds absolutely brilliant.
It would just, and that, I would say that, and just make sure, and also to keep learning and keep doing the training keeps your brain active.
Yeah.
It keeps you younger. Yeah, absolutely. And, watching all these programs and the trainings that they do. I say watching programs, it sounds funny because it's actually like watching a holiday program. And we just plug the laptop into the television, and then it comes through, and you go as though you're following it around with a video
on the holiday yourself.
Yeah, whatever they're doing, and it's wonderful.
Sounds absolutely brilliant.
It is.
I tell you, it almost makes me feel like I got into the wrong business. But then again, as I said earlier, I forever stand with FOMO, and I'm terrible for shiny, something new. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do that. But anyhow, I'm doing my own property business and the podcast, and I'm actually really quite happy with that. I love talking to people. It's fantastic.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, it's nice.
Right. So I'm going to wrap up this conversation with a little quick fire round.
Okay.
Although this isn't the kind of business that I've discovered from other people before. So I wonder how this is going to pan out. But hey, do you have any regrets for not setting this business up earlier in your life?
Absolutely.
Did you actually come across it before?
No.
Where you could have?
We wouldn't have had a clue. However, if we'd found this even 10 years ago, the opportunities are endless. And when we went to the conference, in Sorrento, the one in London last week, the Intercontinental in London, they reward you. You are totally your own boss. You do as and how you want to do.
Yes.
They reward you. And when you see the people up there, doctors, surgeons, teachers, heads of schools, one of the ladies in it is a mum with 4.
Sounds like a really broad variety of people.
It's huge. The eldest person that we know of is 89.
Can you put me in touch with them?
I'm afraid she's not in this country.
Oh, that's fine. I've been recommended a person to interview who's in China, so
this one's
I can do online
in America, but any age can do it if you have a passion for something. And
I nearly said who doesn't have a passion for travel, but I do know people who don't travel.
Yeah, exactly.
There
are people who don't,
but anyhow,
and it's like you say, you've always done it, and we are there to take out that work for you. We
Yeah. Awesome. So would you actually consider setting up another business?
No.
You found your thing.
I found my thing. Absolutely found my thing.
So who is your inspiration?
That's a hard one. There are probably 2.
Go on.
Peter.
I was kind of expecting that answer, yes.
Absolutely, Peter. He has been my rock and my mainstay for for all the years we've been married. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, literally. He's a wonderful man, and I love him dearly. And the other person is probably Heidi.
Right, okay.
Heidi started she started in January, actually selling holidays. She'd been booking holidays for herself for years. She's a sailor too, big time sailor, and which is how I know her. And she has booked, I don't know, 50, 60 holidays since January.
Is that a lot?
It's a lot.
Okay, I have no concept whatsoever.
She works as well, yeah, and she's all for solo people, and she's real inspiration. Yeah,
sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Do you read any business-related books or listen to any podcasts that you would be able to recommend to other people who want to start up a new business in later life?
No, I don't. Peter does.
Okay.
Peter reads a lot and listens to a lot of podcasts. We do have training podcasts in the back office, which I do have to. I don't have to, but I do listen to those. But not outside. No, I tend not to.
And the final question is, would you be able to recommend somebody who's in a similar position, who started up a new business in later life?
My husband, Peter.
Oh, I shall look forward to that one. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Penny, for coming on the podcast.
You're
just for our
very
listeners,
welcome.
if you could please just repeat, because you mentioned a few names. So if you could repeat the business name and the Facebook pages where we can find you and your holidays, that would be really helpful.
Right. The Facebook page is Exciting Times Travel.
Okay. Is it all in one word, or Exciting Times
Travel.
So 3 words, yeah.
And the group I have two groups. One is Travels with the Gluten-Free Granny,
That sounds
GFG,
brilliant.
GFG in brackets. And the main one for me is More Time to Travel, and it's UK, because I only book holidays from the
For UK residents.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. That
Yes.
makes sense.
Yes.
But of course, all of the social media
Yes.
tags will be in the show notes.
Yes.
So, Penny, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
And enjoy
Very
the rest
much.
of your day.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I've had a lovely time.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I'm grateful to Penny for sharing her travel industry stories. I hope Penny's story inspired you to consider how your passion, something you've done perhaps absent-mindedly, could become a business. At New Business in Later Life, we believe it's never too late to turn your interests into a thriving enterprise. If you've been dreaming of starting a business, let Penny's journey empower you to take action. Your life experiences are your greatest assets. For those interested in Penny's travel services, of course, you will find her contact information in the show notes. Thank you.